Navisworks Timeliner creates 4D simulations, a simulation that includes time of the construction of 3D models, by attaching items in the model to tasks with a start and end date. You can create a simulation that shows sections of the model being added or removed over time, according to the scheduled tasks. With Timeliner, you can also link the objects to tasks in an external scheduling file and synchronize the simulation with the actual status of the project. Actual and planned dates can be associated with the tasks, simulating actual against planned schedules. To first set up a timeliner, what you want to do is enable your timeliner in your user interface. So you'll see it will pop up, it should be in the bottom of your screen. And you need to do something called adding tasks. So these tasks can be added manually, and these are related to the actual objects in the project, if it's walls, foundations, columns or beams, etc. But for this example, we're just going to add them manually just so you understand how you actually add objects to an associated length of time of construction as well. So here we have our model that we were already in earlier. And what I'm going to do here in tasks, I'm just going to add a task, and I'm actually just going to name it as ground floor slab. So what we're going to do is we're going to call it ground floor slab, and this is just the ground floor slab being poured essentially. And we're just going to call it day by day. We're not going to break it into hours or anything like that. We're just going to say that it starts on the 27th and ends on the 27th. Then the reason we do that, and the way we actually assign different objects to it, and this is only one way of doing it. What we do, we go into our model, select our model, make sure you have your selection tab selected. I'm just going to select the ground floor, right click on that, right click on the task, and just attach current selection. So now that floor slab is now attached to this planned start date and this planned end date. Now the second thing we're going to do, we're going to add a second task. And what we're going to do, we're going to rename this, and we're just going to call this ground floor walls. And we're going to keep this very simple for now. I'm not going to get too complicated, just to explain the principle of it. And what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to delete the third one, ground floor. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to select some of these walls that are at the ground floor essentially. So all I'm doing here is just left clicking on my mouse and using my control key. Now I can select category by walls, that is one way of doing it, but it's good to understand how these get added as well. So all I'm doing is just adding those. I'll leave out the curtain wall for the moment just to keep it simple. And that is now right click on ground floor walls and attach current selection. So again, attach current selection, go into plan start date. We'll say it starts on the 28th and ends on the 28th. It's a very fast form of construction we're working with here. Now we're going to add another task, a third task, and we're just going to call this, first floor slab, and we're going to add the first floor slab. So first floor slab, excuse my typo, first floor slab. And we're going to do exactly what we already done. And I've actually hidden the curtain wall here. How you hide something is you click it and just go hide. So I've just hidden those items. They're still there. They're just hidden. Selecting that slab, just attach current selection. And now we're going to do the same for first floor walls. So another task we have, I'm just going to, assign my date. And we're just going to make it chronological in terms of day after the other, just for the purpose of this simulation. But obviously you can understand that there's crossover tasks and tasks that take a lot longer than a day as well. So what we're going to do is just going to call it first walls, we'll just call it first walls. And all I'm going to do is again select that. Oh, they're all on the same category or same model element from your Revit model, and that obviously it is divided by walls within our Revit model only at the ground floor. It goes from ground floor to first floor, but up here we've actually modeled it in Revit from first floor up to second floor or up to roof. So for the purpose of this, we'll just show it this way. But that's why it's important to see how you actually model in Revit, then translates into maybe how you create your Revit or your Navisworks Timeliner from that Revit model as well. So now we're going to right click on first walls and we're just going to attach current selection. Now what we're going to do, we're just going to go into our simulate tab. And our simulate tab, this is where we essentially press play and it will show the building being constructed. So a couple of settings just to make sure they're enabled. Interval of the simulation will be 1 day, so it will change by 1 day. And the whole video or simulation will be 10 seconds long. So we'll see how that plays out. Excuse the pun. So our model is actually hidden. And the reason it is hidden just because some of our settings have not yet been enabled. And the way you go in and change your settings, oh yes, just to explain, you need to make sure that the task type is set to either construct, demolish, or temporary, and these are all construction tasks. So this is just how we've categorized them: construct, construct, and construct. And I've set the first floor walls to occur on the 30th of the month as well. So we've got 4 days in a row where they're all run. So if I just go back into my simulate tab, and again, just go into my settings. So it's going to interval by a day, and we've got 4 days. So every day lasts 2.5 seconds, if you think of it that way. You can change this to 30 seconds or an hour, however long you want it. Just for the purpose of this demonstration, we'll just leave it at that for now. It increments by a day, and we only want it to be 10 seconds long. And the particular dates that we want to see are only the planned dates. We won't go into any of the other details for now. So I'm just going to hit play on that. And just in your configure tab, just be aware we can actually change the color of how certain items appear, similar to how phasing works in Revit. You've got different colors you can assign to how it appears at a different stage in the simulation. So by default, these are all the default settings. The end appearance of a constructed object is full solid green, and then when it starts, it's light green, and obviously for demolish, it's red. Its end appearance is green. You can change that to red, obviously, or any other color you want. And you can change different objects. You can have things like cranes in here, cement trucks, different elements to simulate them as well, even arriving on site and when they leave, and how that will all work. And if you have scaffolding models, and you can get quite intricate with this as well. So what I'm going to do is just hit play on that. That's going to play over 10 seconds. Our ground floor slab is constructing. You can see our first floor walls are being constructed on that day. Now our first floor slab is now in, and now our second set of walls have been constructed. And you can understand how you build up a simulation model based on these different types of elements. Now, that's a very simple model with 4 tasks. You know, a construction model is going to have hundreds or thousands of tasks, depending what construction stage you want to construct it at. But you can link in with different data sources, including Microsoft Project or even Primavera as well, by pulling in that information, which is commonly used on construction projects as well. And being able to link that into your tasks entirely is possible too. You can also automate the adding of tasks as well. So just go to auto add tasks. You'll see it here just beside add task, insert task, or auto add tasks. For every topmost layer, you can add every topmost item from the model, and it will automatically give it a date. Now, these mightn't be accurate necessarily in terms of the actual construction project, but it will actually give them a date as well. So it's added in walls to be constructed at different times, floors, roofs, doors, windows, and broken those down into essentially your categories. And then we can again go into our simulate tab, just hit play on that, and you can see all of that other information will come in, which has been not selected in the first selections. So we can see we've got windows and different elements, and we're going to have internal columns, etc., coming into that as well. So if we had more items in the model itself, you would in fact obviously have more automated creative tasks. But that's one way of creating, is by automating your every upmost item, or you can create something called sets. So you might have all of your furniture on one set, or all of your light fittings on one set, you know, for your second fix electrical fit out, and so on and so forth. All of your partitions or all of your stud work, all of your fireproofing, etc., can also be added into this timeliner.